Good morning. My name is Julia. This is the fucking yoga company. No, not that kind of yoga. uh, this is morning energy yoga for Monday. We're just going to spend some time getting our body ready, getting the blood flowing, trying to wake up our brain. And it's a fairly easy flow, pretty accessible to almost everybody. I just went on a rant about all levels classes being kind of bullshit, but as everybody, as it applies to everybody, that my classes are the exception. All right, we're going to start in comfortable seated position, whatever that looks like for you. Could be one leg out, could be both legs out. You could tuck a bolster or a blanket underneath your knees to make yourself comfortable. This seated cross-legged position happens to work for me, Sukhasana, so it's called pleasant pose. It is basically crisscross applesauce without stacking your legs. If you're stacking your legs, we're reinforcing imbalance. And right, the point of yoga is to try and get ourselves into some sense of balance. So unwiden up those legs, tuck something underneath the knees if your hips are bitching. We're going to just take a moment to pull our attention and awareness from the external to the internal, taking a scan of the body, checking in, state and quality of the physical form. We're just going to notice where we're at first thing this morning. Maybe you slept wonky. Maybe you didn't sleep at all. I'm in that category. And we just want to just notice how that's playing out on our body first thing. We're going to move that attention and awareness into the state and quality of our thinking and check in. Maybe you're not quite awake yet. Maybe you definitely need some extra coffee. Maybe your to-do list is up and running. We're going to slide all of those things off to the side. We want to hold a silent space in our thoughts so that we can focus our time only on the mat. Let's move that silence into the awareness of the breath. And we're going to pay attention to our natural intuitive rhythm of breath. Traditionally in yoga, we breathe into and out of the nose. But if you are having sinus issues or any kind of hindrance in that regard, just breathe. We want to pay attention to that intuitive rhythm that we do not control, the one that happens without thinking. Wherever you are in the rhythm of that breath, let's invite it to get a little bit longer and a little bit deeper. We want to match the length of inhale to the length of exhale and hold that rhythm for the entirety of the practice. Wherever you are in the rhythm and balance of that breath, let's exhale all the air out of the lungs. And we're going to add an inhale to the next sweep of the arms. So let's reach on up toward the ceiling, taking the stretch. And then we're going to release that down toward the mat, just letting the fingers drift towards the hips. And we're just going to work with your length and balance of breath. Let's take this inhale up and we're going to move into a lateral extension. So let's drop the right hand down, lifting a little higher through the left side of the body and reaching to the diagonal where that wall meets the ceiling. Rock that shoulder back, try to keep the body open toward the front of the mat, and then let's engage the core and sweep on up. So when we're moving through warm-ups, I start with the movements of the spine. So lateral stretching, forward folding, maybe some twists. We want to warm that structure up before we get started into anything with a little bit of stronger energy. We're going to take one more repetition in both directions. And I want you to try and anchor those knees down a little as we reach away from them. Tilt that shoulder blade back just a tiny bit to put that stretch right into the latissimus dorsi. Coming on up to come down, we're going to take our first forward fold, tracing fingers forward, roll through the shoulders. We're going to rest the body weight on the elbows. And maybe you don't have a block. You can use your knees, the calves, maybe the floor. I'm going to grab my block. First forward fold of the morning. Feeling a little tight in that low back. Tuck the chin, wiggle the toes. Let's relax the energy out of the feet. And then unclench the teeth, keeping the face soft. We're going to breathe here for a few breaths. With the next inhale, we're going to lengthen through the arms, walking the hands back toward the body, taking a sweep up to the ceiling, releasing our palms out. So turn those palms up toward the ceiling, a little shrug of the shoulders, soften the elbows, reaching back behind the body, bow the chin forward, and then let's let the fingertips drip down toward the mat. I'm going to tuck my hands next to the hips, palms facing backward, bowing chin forward. Let's take a couple of head sweeps. So we're just going to work into semicircles. So I'm tilting an ear over to one side, glancing forward. Releasing the chin slowly back down to center and tilting in the other direction. Let's do that one more time to both sides. Releasing the chin forward, let's trace the fingers around the body and slowly stack cervical spine. If you happen to be sitting cross-legged, we're going to change the cross of the legs. Taking a little rock side to side, getting balanced between the hips. Let's take an inhale up. We're going to work a little twist today. So relax the fingertips right below the shoulders. And as you exhale, we're turning the belly button into the twist. So start with the belly button, travel up through the rib. It's going to be a shallower twist than if you led with your shoulder. So engage the core, inhale, exhale, start at the lower portion of the body and then tilt into that shoulder blade. Inhaling, take a stretch. We're going to do that two more times actually. Releasing fingertips right below the shoulders. Exhaling, taking it back around into the twist. And reach through that inhale, exhaling. Let's go in the other direction. Inhaling up one more time. We're going to do that in both directions. Taking those fingertips down, relax the shoulders away from the ears, and then take that twist. Inhaling through center. Try to relax the legs in that twist. Try to prevent the knees from creeping up toward the rib cage. Let's inhale up to center, taking our forward fold, tracing fingertips through, bowing and rolling the shoulders and resting on this block. I'm going to take a little rock side to side just to work through that energy in the lumbar structure. Wiggle the toes. Relax the energy out of the feet, unclench the teeth. We're going to lengthen arms and walk hands back, slowly sweeping the body up, or the arms up toward the ceiling, releasing palms out, shrug the shoulders, soften the elbows. Let's reach back behind the body, bow the chin forward. Relaxing those fingertips down towards the hips, turning palms back. Let's take our head sweeps, just 2. Releasing down and taking the tilt. Let's do that one more time in both directions. Releasing the chin forward, let's trace fingertips around the front of the body, and we're going to slowly stack cervical spine. We're going to head to hands and knees. I'm going to pad my knees with a blanket and move my block out toward the end of my mat. Don't worry if you don't have a block, I'll cue with and without. But I do want you, I like to pad my knees because my knees and my elbows are only 2 bony places on my body, and they are dainty flowers. So I'm going to rest my hands side by side, placing my knees to either side of my hands, moving out to hands and knees. I'd like you to keep your hips stacked directly over your knees, but we're going to move the hands out from 90 degrees, which tends to let you hyperextend and shrug your shoulders up into your ears. I want you to slide them forward a half to a full palm's length. That lets you soften these elbows. We can shrug those shoulders away from the ears, and we take pressure off of the wrists. If you've had carpal tunnel, you know 90 degrees is not the greatest of angles for you. So widen those hands up. We're going to take an inhale to center. We're working what I call the Chakravarikasana bow. Big power length through the lungs. Releasing chin, resting elbows, releasing hips back toward the heels as we bow toward the mat. Give the fingers a wiggle, roll the wrists, make some fists. Inhaling forward. We're going to do that 2 more times. So making sure that you stay relaxed through the elbows, keeping those shoulders relaxed through and away from the ears, reaching back with the hips as we bow. We're going to do that 1 more time. Really important here to press the elbows down toward the mat before you take that tilt back with the hips. And inhaling forward. We're going to take an inhale, and we're going to take the left hand off the mat. Reach on up and open. And then exhale, trace that palm around to the chest and touch the back of the opposite shoulder. So this is a modified thread the needle. I don't do the full thread the needle because you compress your radial nerve that way. And we don't need actually to compress those forward positions any more than we already do. Inhaling, reaching out. Exhaling, wrap those hands around the body. Try to touch the back of the opposite shoulder. Inhaling, reach out. We're going to place this hand back on the mat. And then we're going to move to the other side. So reach on out with the right arm. Engage the core. I'm soft in the supporting elbow, but I'm reaching around the body to touch the back of that shoulder. 2 more of those. One more time. Reaching on out, we're going to stretch up and then take that arm down. Place it out in front of you. Take an inhale here. Releasing chin. Taking forearms to the mat. Stretch back toward those heels. Wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists. Inhaling forward. So make sure you've got those hands wide, reaching up to the left, a little wider than shoulder width. Gives you the room to move back and forth. It gives you room in that shoulder girdle when we come back for the bow so that your biceps are not squeezed up towards your ears. Place the hand down, reach on up. Exhaling. Staying soft in that supporting elbow. Placing hand into the mat. Let's take an inhale, releasing to our Chakravarkasana bow. Tuck the chin, place forearms down, reach back with the hips, wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists. I'm going to walk my hands back toward my knees because we're going to scoop on up to stand into Vajrasana. Balance side to side between those knees. Keep the weight balanced front to back. If you're feeling your toes come off the mat, you're too far forward. If you're feeling the fire in your quads, you're too far back. Give me a squeeze back with the elbows. And now I want you to touch the fingertips to the shoulders, and we're going to increase our twist over here. Reach around. Inhale and exhale. Coming on up, reach through the stretch to the ceiling and take our bow. So both arms are going out. Tilt the hips back, roll over the waistband, and reach out into that stretch. Wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists. Walk the hands back. Give me a reverse crunch right through that stretch. Drop back with the cactus arm, touch the fingertips to the shoulders, and then twist around. Inhale, exhale. Unwind, reach. All right, take an inhale as you reach up, tilt back into the heels, roll over the waistband, control that with your core. Stretch on out, widen those arms, wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists. One more time, scoop the belly, round up through that reverse crunch, reach to the ceiling. Cactus arms, touching the shoulders, take that twist. Inhale and exhale. Coming on up with our stretch, we're just going to sweep our arms back and take hands to mat. Let's tuck the toes and press up into the feet. I'm going to step forward so that I'm balanced right on the center of the balls of the feet. I'm back behind my wrists. Shrug those shoulders open and down toward the rib cage. I'm going to push into one heel, relax heavily onto one knee for runner's stretch. Soften the elbows and switch. We're going to do that 2 more times in both directions. Press on down, hold for a full inhale and exhale here. Soften those elbows. One more press. We're going to look forward and walk up to the end of the mat. I want you about 10 inches to 12 inches away from the edge of the mat, a little wider than fist width between the feet. I'm going to find my block. If you don't have a block, we're just resting the hands either above the knee or below the knee. And we're just relaxing the body into the shallowest forward fold you need first thing in the morning. If your knees need to be a little deeper in the bend, then that's perfectly okay. The weight is a little forward into the balls of the feet, but you can lift your toes off the mat and give them a little wiggle. I want you to bend the knees deeply now, lift the body, scoop the belly, and take that roll on up as we power through the core, lifting. Give me a little cactus squeeze. Soften the knees. Inhaling up, we're going to sink a little deeper into the knees. Drop those fingertips below the shoulders, and we're going to amp up our twist. So I want you to let the hips go with you. I'm going to go all the way around. The deeper bend in my knee means I'm not putting any torque on those joints. Inhaling up. We're going to do that in the other direction. Relax on down. Fingertips a little lower than the shoulders. Let the hips and the knees go all the way around with you. Inhaling up, we're going to take a forward folding chair. So sit back into the heels, let the body fold all the way over the legs. I'm resting my belly on my thighs. letting my hands and my head hang loosely. I want you to lift head and shoulders. Give me the reverse crunch up. Engage that core. Press through the feet to unwind the body. Cactus arm squeeze, soften the knee. Tilt the chin a little. Let's inhale up. I'm going to deepen the bend in my knees. I'm going to reach out and let those fingertips rest right below my shoulders. Exhaling for this big loose twist, letting the hips and knees go all the way around. I'm going to inhale up. Release on down and to the other direction. Coming on up to come down, we're going to head for our forward folding chair. Release all the way down. We're going to take a full inhale and exhale here. Just let the body hang. All right, let's trace fingers up the legs and head for our half lift. So engage the core, trace right up the legs, soften the knees. I want you to be at 120 to 145 degrees. I'm resting my hands lightly on the tops of my thighs. Tuck in my chin a little to keep my cervical spine in alignment with my thoracic spine. My shoulders are rocked open just a tad. We're going to release back down all the way into that forward folding chair. Lift the head and shoulders, scoop the belly, press through the feet. Stretch on up. Let's take our cactus arms back. Inhaling, deepen the knee bend. Now I want you to lock knees and try to keep the knees anchored toward the direction of the toes as we tilt around. So we're increasing the amp and the energy of the twist by anchoring our lower body in a forward direction. Release those fingers right below the shoulders. Now keep those knees aimed toward the direction of the toes. Come on up to come down, forward folding chair. Release on through. Let's trace those fingers up the legs, heading for our half lift. Roll those shoulders away from the center of the chest. Soften the knees, lift up into the core. Tuck that chin just a little. I'm a little forward in my feet. All right, I'm going to lean back into my heels and drop into a mild Utkatasana chair pose. Want to keep the energy light so I don't have to be as deep in my knees as I can get, but I do want you to open these shoulders. Press the hands together at the center of the chest. And now we're going to drive an elbow back and take a little twist. Follow with your head and try to look out the back of the mat. Inhale, we're going to stretch all the way up. Open those arms, take that inhale, give me a little squish in the knees. Come on back down to that Utkatasana. Press those hands together. We're going to the right. Drive the elbow first and look and follow it around. Keep the weight into the heels. Inhale, unwind. Big stretch. We're going to come down for a forward fold. Trace the fingers right down the legs. And relax into that. Bending those knees at whatever energy level you need to protect the back of the hamstrings and the low back. Bend those knees, lift the head and shoulders. Give me reverse crunch up, stretch. Little cactus squeeze back. We're going to come up again and then we're rolling down, not rolling down, we're lowering our fingertips a little bit below the shoulders. All right, now I want you to anchor the hips and put that twist right into the latissimus dorsi and the obliques. Inhale and unwind, stretch and give me a wiggle out of the knees. Here we go to the other side. Again, I'm keeping those hips anchored forward to come up. Let's head for our forward folding chair. Taking a little extra forward fold here. Trace right up the fingers into our easy energy Utkatasana. Bring the hands to center. And now we're going to go to the left. We're driving that elbow back. Keep the knees rotated in the opposite direction. Keep the weight back into the heels. You see me, I crept forward over my knees and the other direction. Inhaling, unwind. Bring those hands right to the hips. I'm going to step my right foot back into a shallow crescent lunge. So I'm just going to step back and control. Give me lateral space. Keeping hands on the hips. My body's forward over the length of my thigh. Rock those shoulders back. Give me a little lift of the chest. Tuck the chin. I'm just going to hold here. I've got a soft bend in my knee, amping my energy up slowly. All right, we're going to come all the way forward with the hands. So take that bow, plant the hands, and we're going to step back with that front foot for our downward facing dog feet. So find the balls of your feet. Soften the knees. I'm back behind my wrists. I just want to take a nice, easy length. I'm leaning away from the heels of my hands, but I have a soft bend in my knees. I have a soft bend in my elbows. I just did that opposite. I need some more coffee. Shrug those shoulders open and into the ribs. And I'm aiming my heels toward the mat, but you can see I'm not touching the mat because I want to keep that soft bend in my knee. Glance forward between the hands. Let's walk up. And release to our forward fold. Bend the knees, lift the head and shoulders. Give me that reverse crunch up. Nice big reach to the ceiling. Little squeeze back with the cactus arm. All right, nice reach up. Let's take the fingertips down. Bend those knees. Okay, we're going to keep the knees and the hips anchored forward as we drive back with the shoulder blade. Inhaling up and come to the other side. Wiggle fingers, roll wrists. Come on up to come down to our forward folding chair. Release it all the way over. We're going to trace the fingers right up the legs for our half lift. If you want to amp your energy up a little bit, you can press those hands back and lengthen a little bit more power through the spine and the latissimus dorsi. I'm going to keep my fingertips right here, busting out a hot flash. Woo! All right, we're going to release back down to this forward folding chair. I want to take a little bit of more stretch, a little bit more of a stretch through lower back. That was a better sentence. I'm going to come right up into my easy Utkatasana. Bring the hands to center. Just press those palms forward and dig back with that elbow. Keep the hips and the knees rotated forward. I'm going to look back over my elbow. Inhale. Whew. We're going right to the other side. Coming on to center. Let's lengthen on up. Bringing those hands to hips, bend the knees. Now I'm going to step the left foot back for my crescent lunge. So be mindful of where you're putting your foot. Back and out. Give me lateral space. I'm solid in the ball of that foot. I've got a soft bend in my knee. My body is forward over the length of my thigh. And I'm just going to rotate my shoulders back. Stretch that tailbone down. Reach long between these rib cages. Bad sentence. Roll those shoulders back. And we're just holding here a few breaths, getting our body warm, getting the blood pumping. All right, I'm going to come forward all the way into the fold to touch the hands so that I can step the front foot back into this downward facing dog position. Soften the knees, soften the elbows. My head is relaxed. I'm looking straight at my toes. I'm going to lean away from the heels of my hands. I'm so flat in the back. This is a back extension. It's energetic. A lot of core work here as you engage to try and create length through the spine. Glancing forward, I'm walking up. No hopping early in the morning. Bending the knees, lift the head and shoulders, scoop right on up and take a big reach. Little squeeze back with the elbows. Reaching up to come down into that warrior two arm and then lead into that twist. Keep the hips and the knees rotated in the opposite direction of the hips, not of the hips, of the twist. Inhale and switching sides. Coming on up to come down, we're taking our forward folding chair. Tracing right up into my half lift. All right, I'm going to lean back into my heels. I'm sitting into my Utkatasana, pressing those hands together. Reach around, big twist. Inhale, unwind. Let's do it to the other direction. I'm going to inhale to come up. I'm going to throw a little forward folding chair in here. Nice big release through the low back. Let's trace right on up, put the hands on the hips, and approach this right side. Crescent lunge, step on back, give me lateral space. I'm up on the ball of my foot, forward over the thigh, lifting on up. All right, we're gonna increase our energy here. Bring those hands back, palms to center. We're gonna twist toward the front leg. So take that elbow back. Relax the shoulders away from the neck. We're going to unwind, come on down to step the front foot back. Soften the knees, soften the elbows, lean back away from the heels of the hands. Shrug those shoulders down toward the rib cage. Stretch through the spine with the core. Keep up out of the shoulder girdle. Rather than hanging in the joint, I want you to power up under the chest. Let's glance forward and walk it up. Forward fold. Soften the knees. Forward into the balls of the feet, but still in contact with the mat through the heels. Bend the knees, lift the head and shoulders. Give me that reverse crunch up. Cactus arm. Bring it on up. We're going to come into our first twist. Release those fingertips down, engage, and twist around. Inhale, coming on up. Exhale, release. Inhale, coming on up to come down, forward folding chair. Trace right up those legs, half lift. I am going to press my hands back and out this last round. I'm leaning right on back into my easy Utkatasana chair pose. Keep those shoulders open. Press the hands together at the center of the chest. Reach around to the right. Dig that elbow back. Relax out of the shoulders. Inhaling up. I'm going to come right on into my crescent lunge. Hands to hips. Left foot is stepping back. Be mindful and in control. Give me lateral space between the feet. Lengthen that body, roll those shoulders. Press the hands together. Here we go. We're going to twist toward the front leg. Soften that back knee. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders down. We're going to unwind and come straight through, planting hands to the mat. Let's step the front foot back. Balance to the center of the balls of the foot. Heels of the hands are way out in front of the shoulders. Soft in the knees, soft in the elbows. Lean the hips back, away from the heels of the hands. Scoop the belly. Really power up through the core here. All right, we're going to release knees to the mat. Tuck those toes, come on back with the hips, take a little rock side to side. Wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists, make some fists. We're going to come forward through our inhale and take 3 rounds of Chakravarkasana. Releasing the chin, letting the elbows relax, taking hips back to heels. Widen up the arms. In fact, try to line the arms up with the edge of the mat. That's how wide I'd like your hands. Inhaling. Exhale, release the chin. Take the forearms down now. Scoop the belly and tilt those hips back into the heels. One more time. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, release the chin. Rest the forearms now. Take those hips back. That was a very bad example. I just rushed it. Wiggle the fingers, roll the wrists. Coming on forward, I'm going to walk on up. We're going to come to seated. I'm going to move my blanket out of my way, grabbing a drink. It's water right now, but this is a morning class, so just so you know, I'm going to double up my espresso today. All right, we're going to take a rock back. So make sure you have room behind your head on the mat, so don't hit your head on the floor. And just bring those knees with you. Give them a little squeeze. Wiggle the toes, roll the ankles, take a little rock side to side. So you're going to feel a little foot fatigue. You're going to feel a lot of heat in the low back. Ideally, we worked our core, did a lot of lifting through the powerhouse of our body. Give those knees a little squeeze. Let's move the hands to the insides of the knees. We're going to press out and let the legs, the weight of the legs, the weight of the arms stretch through those adductors. Wow. A lot of stabilization when we twist in those adductors. We're going to bring the knees in, give them a little squeeze. All right, so if you have a strap, we're going to go a little deeper into those adductors. So there are 2 ways to do this. I'm going to hang on to my right ankle. Excuse me. If you don't have a strap, you can take a hold of the left leg around the ankle, maybe the shin, maybe the big toe, and we're going to lengthen out through that leg and take it out to the side and hold on to the right leg to prevent us from rocking over to the left. If you have a strap, you get a little bit more leverage and length. I'm going to wrap that strap around the arch of the foot. I'm holding on to that strap really close to the foot, shortening up on the ends. And now I'm going to take that out the length of my arm. It just relaxes that shoulder and gives you an opportunity to relax. If I say relax one more time in this flow, I'm just going to hit my head against the floor. It allows you to lengthen and release into that stretch a little deeper. Better sentence. I'm going to bring that heel in, and now I'm going to switch to the other side. So I'm just looping that strap around the arch of the foot. If not, right, just take a hold of the ankle, the shin, or the big toe. But I'm holding on to the shin of my left leg to keep that leg anchored away. Ooh, this side's tight from that extension. Unclench the teeth, breathe. Wow, I'm tight on this side. All right, we're gonna come on in, bring those knees together, give them a little squeeze, take a little rock side to side. We're gonna work a little half twist. So I'm gonna open up my arms, palms open, but below my shoulders. And we're gonna take half twist. So we're gonna go to 45 degrees. We're gonna inhale at center, keep those knees squeezed together and just come on over to the hip. Engage the core, draw up and inhale, exhale, take it halfway over to the other side. We're gonna do that 3 more times in both directions. All right, we're gonna come to center and now we're gonna take our full twist over. So I'm gonna let these knees come as far toward the floor as I can, but notice that I'm squeezing them together. So if you have to keep your knees a little higher or they don't go all the way to the mat when you squeeze them together, I still want you to keep that pressure between the legs. Take the bottom arm and just drape it over the top of that leg. Give yourself a little bit more leverage in this big, low, oblique lumbar twist. We're just breathing here as best you can. We're going to take a few more breaths. All right, we're going to unwind slowly back to center. We're going to press those knees together, inhale, and we're going to take that stay to the other side. So try to roll those knees as close to the ground as you can, keeping them pressed together. Drape that the bottom arm over the top of the legs. I'm dropping this extended shoulder close to the mat as I can get. We're going to engage the core, draw on up, give those knees a squeeze. We're going to take the right leg over the top of the left knee, just resting my ankle right on top of that knee. Left hand to left foot, right hand to right knee. Just give those legs a squeeze up toward the body. We're going to release through and let that foot come down. Let's switch the cross. Same thing. Right hand to right foot, left hand to left knee, right hand to left foot. Oh my God, I got to wake up. If I go to bed right after class, is it still considered a nap? We're going to release that foot down to the mat. Bring those knees up, give them a little squeeze. We're going to take a little rock side to side. And now I am going to take my strap. Let's lengthen the left leg. I'm going to press my right heel out at a diagonal so I can get the length of the leg, soft in the knee, dorsal flex the toes. And then I'm just going to bring that leg up for hamstring stretch. Now, if you don't have a strap, I'm just going to interlace my fingers as low as I can get on my thigh, so that I can keep my shoulders rolled open toward the mat. That's why I like the strap. I'm going to press the strap out and I'm going to reach on up with my arms, slide it on down, rest my elbows against the mat to flatten it. Then I can take a little leverage of fists towards my shoulders. Turn that big toe in towards center so that you're parallel. The edge of your foot is parallel to the edge of the mat. All right, I'm going to reach up with the left hand, just the length of my arm. So I'm a little bit further away from my foot on this strap. I want you to touch your right hand to the hip. We're just going to take the heel across the body, but I want you to keep the right hip down. So this is not a spinal twist or an oblique twist. This is a length of the leg away from the hip. If you don't have the strap, just take your left hand around the top of the knee and just let that foot or that leg settle straight across. So you're going to feel the whole body stay in contact with the mat. This is right up the IT band. I'm feeling that all the way from my ankle, straight up the side of my calf, up the IT band into my hip and my piriformis and glute medius. We're going to unwind, bring that leg, give it a little squeeze, wiggle the toes, roll the ankles, hug that knee. And now let's bring the other foot up. We're going to lengthen right leg. I'm feeling my hip flexor. Bring that right leg out. Left leg, again, push it out to the diagonal. If you have the strap, just take that strap with it so that you can get length of the leg, soft in the knee, dorsal flex the toes. Bring that foot up by moving those fists towards your shoulders. If you don't have a strap, just gently interlace fingers right behind the very lowest part of that thigh. Unclench the teeth, breathe. All right, same thing on this side. We're just going to take that heel straight across the leg. I'm going to use the strap. I'm just reaching up the length of my arm, but I'm a little bit further away from my foot. This left hip is going to stay in contact with the mat. You're not going to roll over. So if it helps, you can just touch your finger to that hip. Keep the shoulder, the ribs, and the hip in contact with the mat. And just taking the leg over. Oh, the side is terrible. Keep the dorsal flexion of the toes. Don't cheat me out of that stretch. Soft bend in the knee. Oh. Breathe. All right, we're going to release that tension. Ai Chihuahua. Bring the knee up, roll the ankle, bring the other knee up, roll the ankle. All right, so we're going to take a scan of the body. Where would you like a little extra stretch? What are you noticing after the end of this practice in those little stretches? Where do you need some relief? Maybe you have a favorite stretch that we haven't done. Give yourself that release. Take a minute or two and also think about your body temperature while we are moving towards Shavasana, because we're going to take a rapid cool down. And it is cool this July morning. We're watching this in July. Maybe you want to stay cool and lower your body temperature, keeping it cool for the rest of the day. Otherwise, feel free to cover up with a blanket or turn off your fan. And we're going to start moving ourselves down or toward final relaxation, Shavasana. So Shavasana is traditionally fully reclined, legs extended, arms at your sides, palms up. I think that's a little deep relaxation for waking up on a Monday morning. But if that's your jam, feel free to do that. I'm going to keep my knees on the mat. Not my knees. I'm keeping my feet on the mat, knees to the ceiling, mostly because if I don't, I'm probably going to fall asleep here and leave you all hanging. The good news about doing yoga together apart in our own homes is if we fell asleep, we're good, right? Unless we have to go somewhere. All right, soft, easy inhale, soft, silent exhale. Taking a minute just to find that place where you can relax completely into the mat. We're going to draw our attention and awareness into the lines of the forehead. From one temple to the other, let's notice those tiny little muscles and nerve endings. And now feel the forehead smooth out. Relax the eyebrows, feel soft down through the cheeks. We're going to unclench the teeth and let the tongue drop away from the roof of the mouth. We're going to continue down through the sides of the neck, releasing the energy through the strap muscles, across the tops of the shoulders, down through the biceps and triceps, through the elbows, into the forearms, maybe a little wiggle with the fingers spread them nice and wide. And then relax the upper body against or toward the mat. Feel those tips of the shoulder blades sink a little heavier toward the floor. We want to imagine the length of the spine from the base of the neck all the way through the rib cage and down between the hips, letting the torso get heavy, taking a little rock side to side, release the energy out of the glutes. Let's relax the quads. We warmed those up today, did a little lunging. We want to wrap that release all the way around through the hamstrings, down the back of the knee, into the calves, little wiggle of the toes, roll the ankles, and then let the lower body release its weight toward the mat. We're going to pull our attention and awareness into the state and quality of our thinking. Things might be moving around. We might be waking up. Our to-do list might be starting to rev. We want to hold those things off to the side for a little while longer, keeping that silence, anchoring our time, and moving that silence into the awareness of the breath. And we're just going to pay attention to the inhale and exhale. Let's draw some deeper breaths into the lungs. Nice big inhale, big sighing exhale. Little wiggle of the fingers, rolling the wrists. I'm going to lengthen my legs down the end of the mat. I'm going to roll my ankles and wiggle my toes. Lengthen those arms out to the side and reach them on up. Ooh, here comes a yawn. Big, long yawning, getting out of bed stretch. Letting those hands slide down to the hips. Let's bring the knee up and give it a squeeze. Bring the other knee up, give it a squeeze. Let's roll the ankles. Take a little rocking side to side, just moving through the hip, through the low back. Bring a little movement back into the body. And then when you're ready, we're going to rock completely over to one side, resting your head on your hip, not your head on your hip. Oh my God, so much more coffee is needed today. Resting your head on your arm. Taking a moment. Let's just take 2 or 3 breaths right here. We're going to lengthen the top leg down the end of the mat. I'm going to walk my hands up underneath my torso to slowly ease myself back into comfortable seated position. Whatever it looks like for you, take a little rock side to side. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. I'm going to hook my fingers over the tops of my knees and take a big lean in one direction. Stretch that head away from the shoulder down through the arm. Releasing through the forward fold of the chin and then changing the direction. I'm going to settle to center, stacking the shoulders over the ribs, ribs over the hips. I want to take a scan of the body, checking in state and quality of the physical form on this end of the practice. Without any judgment, without any ownership, I just want you to notice the state, the quality of your physical form after we've been moving. We're going to pull that attention and awareness into the state and quality of our thinking. We can start to move some of those important items back into the to-do list, giving them a little bit of elbow room. No pushing, no shoving. And finally, let's just pay attention to that intuitive breath. We really don't give it any honor during the day, for lack of a better word. We don't really notice it until it's been impinged. Believe me, the COVID impinges it. The Rona will kick your butt. Still not recovered. All right, I'm going to blink my eyes open, releasing practice. I do like to take this long, leisurely stretch up toward the ceiling to finish off. You do not have to join me if that's not going to fuel your jam. Releasing hands on down, taking a moment to honor your body for doing what you asked it to do and all the hard work it does to get you from one end of the week to the other. Monday might be the beginning of your week. Some days are easy, some days are a struggle. We just have to give ourselves that room. Thank you so much for supporting the Fucking Yoga Company online. I truly appreciate it. Keeping you safe, keeping me safe, practicing together but apart. Outside of that, have a wonderful day. Stay cool. At the time of recording, it is July. And hey, I hope that the feeling you have right now is the feeling you get to carry out through the rest of your day. Thanks so much. Have a good afternoon.